All right, moving on to the next one. It looks like it's number 12. Well, it says number 12 anyways, and it's got this picture of an X. Let me make this a little smaller. There we go. Now I can see everything. Okay, so let's do this one. This one, they gave you all of these statements, and you only have to give the reasons, so that's not too bad. So reason number 1, it's always going to be given. So this one is blank. I'm going to write given. All right, number 2, how did I go from these congruent signs? How did I go from the congruent signs from number 1 to the equal signs in number 2? That's always the definition of congruent segments. All right, number 3, we've got PQ equals TQ, and UQ equals QS, and suddenly we have PQ plus QS equals PS, and TQ plus QU equals TU. So it looks like if you look at the picture, they're saying that PQ plus QS equals PS, and that TQ plus QU equals TU. They're saying that 2 parts add together equals the whole thing. What is that? That's the segment addition postulate. So segment addition postulate. Okay, next one. From 3 to 4. Now we have TQ plus QS equals PS. So look at the first half of number 3. That's what the same thing. So the only thing different here is that instead of PQ, we used TQ. Now how did we do that? Well, if you look at step 2, they told us that PQ equals TQ. So that means we can just substitute it in. And that is what we did. That's exactly what we did. We used substitution. Substitution property to replace the PQ with the TQ. And then it says TQ plus QS equals TU. How did we do that? Well, if you look at step 3 once again, it says TQ plus QU equals TU. And in step 2, we can see that QU, UQ, is pretty much the same idea, equals QS. So all we did was replace this QU with QS. So then once again, substitution property. Okay. Now, finally, we have that PS equals TU. And how did we do that? That is going to be by the transitive property, because look, TQ plus QS, step 4, TQ plus QS equals PS, but TQ plus QS also equals TU. That means by the transitive property, PS equals TU. So transitive property of what? Of equality. And just to make it clear for you guys, look at this. If I look at number 4, I can say that PS equals TQ plus QS. Then if I look at number 5, the same thing, TQ plus QS equals TU. So if I cross out the middle part, PS equals TU, which is what step 6 says. That's the transitive property. And finally, how do we go from step 6 to step 7? Equal signs to congruent signs. That is the definition of congruence. And that is it for number 12.